This is activity 1.1.2E, Visual Design Principles, focusing on balance, rhythm, and emphasis for CEA. So the main lesson objectives: at the end of this lesson, students should be able to identify the 7 design principles and understand how balance is applied in design. Also be able to identify rhythm types and their role in architecture. Visual design principles. So there's 7 principles that encompass an interesting design. We have balance, rhythm, emphasis, proportion and scale, and movement. We also have contrast. So a good analogy for this is to think about not only have we used ingredients to bake a cake, but how do we actually incorporate those ingredients when we make something? So do we mix, do we fold, do we bake? Those types of things are what's similar to design principles. Balance. So parts of the design are equally distributed to create a sense of stability. Both physical and visual balance exist. And so we'll talk about some of the different types of balance. We have symmetrical or formal balance, asymmetrical or informal balance, radial balance, and vertical balance, as well as horizontal balance. So let's look at some examples of how these are used in design. So when we're talking about balance, we're talking about, in this case, symmetrical or formal balance. And so the elements within the design are identical in the relation to a center line or an axis. So if we were to split the Taj Mahal down the center here, we would have balance on the left and the right. We can also have asymmetrical balance or informal balance. This building is asymmetrical, but because it is located quite a distance from the main section, the large boxy section far left balances the main section on the far right. We also have radial balance, and so these are design elements which radiate from a center point out. And here are some good examples of how that would be, or how that is applied in these 2 domes right here. We can also have vertical balance. Here the top and the bottom parts are equal, and so that's shown to us by the reflection in the water of the building. We can also have horizontal balance. So if we were to take a line and draw it down the very center of our design here, the left side and the right side are the same horizontally. So here you can see that we've got like the same horizontal line on the roof here as we do over here. And same way with a lot of the other features that are located over here. The window on this horizontal plane is also the same as this window on this horizontal plane. Here's another example of horizontal balance where the parts on the left side and the right side are also equal, a form of symmetrical balance. Here we have a floor plan of St. Basil's Cathedral. And here we have lots of different types of symmetry. We have horizontal and vertical symmetry, as well as radial symmetry too. Rhythm. So rhythm is the repeated use of line, shape, color, texture, or pattern. And so we have several different types of rhythm. We have regular rhythm, we have graduated rhythm, we have random rhythm, and then we also have gradated rhythm. So regular rhythm is an element. An element is repeated at the same repetition or interval each time. So here you can see that we've got these examples of these patterns that are very similar over and over again. Here's another example of a regular rhythm where these roof lines on these cube homes are also the same and repeat. Random rhythm. So the beats of the element are random or are at irregular intervals. So even though we have domes that are roughly the same shape, they all vary just a little bit, as well as the color too. Gradated rhythm, the repeated element is identical with the exception of one detail increasing or decreasing gradually with each repetition. And so another example of this would be the stack of stones used in some landscaping where the larger stone is at the bottom and they get a little bit smaller as you go up. And then also this Chinese tower where the roof lines are similar, but they get increasingly smaller as you go up. Emphasis. So emphasis could be a feature in a design that attracts one's eye to a focal point. So in this example right here, we have pretty much, it's a very basic color scheme used throughout this space here, but then we've got a lot of bright colors going on to kind of draw your eye up to that spot. Emphasis can be achieved through size, placement, shape, color, and or the use of lines. And so this mosque in Egypt has some green that's very deliberate in use in this architectural element here with this building as well. And what can you see in this building, or what can you see in this picture that would create emphasis? Is it the dome that's in the background here? And what is it about the dome that actually, or what is it about the structure rather, that creates some emphasis? Or could it be that, the stairwell draws your eye up to the dome as well? That's the end of lesson 1.1.2D. There's no activity for this lesson, but it will follow later. Make sure you submit your guided notes, and then you'll complete a mastery check at the end of D and E, and then make sure that you move on to the next activity. All right, good luck.